Markets were closed on Monday. Is this time different? What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Daily Update. And of course, the markets were open. They just felt like they were closed. After Sunday night's big gap opening and actually the Dow getting up close to 100 and everything flying last night, coming in today, the markets were already selling off. And by the mid-morning, they were all lower. And of course, at the end of the day, they were all pretty much a non-event. And it was like there was really no trade. All the volume appeared in the first hour and we were done for the day. NASDAQ remains the strongest. Everything else just kind of, we're doing our thing, right? Nothing going on. It's really a quiet trade. You've got the Fed already puking, talking about not doing so many rate hikes. What happened to the strong economy? I thought this time was different. They keep telling me that, from the advisors to the pundits to everybody else, that this market is a different market. I don't know. Why are we worried about interest rates? Why aren't they rising? It kind of makes you wonder if they really believe the crap that they spew out there. So we'll see. But in the meantime, there was a really a non-event market pretty much all day. I think you look at the grain markets, they were a little heavy, and it was kind of interesting if you watch the action. I mean, corn was just basically working its way down all day. Soybeans were down all day, but wheat actually was down pretty big, came all the way back to positive territory, only to close lower. Again, I think the grains are a great buy-in here. I think these are a great buy and hold. You look at the cattle markets, feeders almost went down and then bounced right off that 145 level we've been watching. Fats actually almost went down limit before coming back a little bit, and hogs all of a sudden broke out above that 72, actually trading in the mid-73s before it was all said and done. Again, I don't see it. I think that should probably be a sale, but we'll continue to watch and monitor. Gold continues to languish in a very tight range, indicating a very big move is coming. I would have to guess it would be to the downside. At least that's the way I'm going to play it. Now, again, long-term bullish, short-term bearish as a trade, not as normal. I wouldn't sell my current holdings. I would just look to get short against them and kind of play that range and look for a little bit of a pullback. I think you got to see down towards the lows. Oil continues to be in a very narrow range, but again, working its way higher. But oil is really much more of a fear trade right now. Again, just look at the formation. February oil should not be more expensive than June oil. And if you go into next year, oil's in the 50s again. So again, this is more trade on fear. The only question is, when does the fear subside as to when we're going to be able to sell it. You have the Bitcoin that was down, I don't know, 1,000, whatever. But again, that's really not that big of a move for an index that's that big. I mean, that's the kind of trading range it has. And many of the Bitcoin stocks are flying around, and we're going to start to cover those as time goes on, as they develop some liquidity and they develop some real stuff to trade. We're going to start to look at them as well. I think, but the big picture is the Fed is puking all over their shoes again, trying not to raise rates. They're already talking about it, and I think this is one of the most ridiculous things ever, when you have an organization that is totally clueless about what's happening, and yet the Fed chair is one of the most powerful people in the world and has no clue of what's going on. Again, I don't understand if the economy is really growing and doing what it's supposed to be doing. And of course, based on the jobs number, based on all the bragging I hear about how good everything is, the market interest rates should be naturally going up. But of course, when you manipulate and don't allow markets to trade freely, you get what you get. And we're getting what we paid for. And of course, what we are getting is a hell of a lot of debt. And I think this is going to be obviously a bigger problem. It's not a problem today. The markets are still going up. I'm not telling you that the markets are going down tomorrow. I'm telling you that these are just issues that play out in an overall market. You had Amazon going to the moon again. You got Google flying. You got some of the other internet stocks flying. But in the meantime, Apple's under some pressure here, and we're starting to see some movement against some of the things again that don't look right. You look at gold. Gold is in this meandering period that's going to make a very big move here. I think it's going to be to the downside, but again, oil continues to work its way up, and the bonds are just kind of hanging around that unchanged level, but they look like they want to sell off. So at the end of it, you've got a mess. Now the VIX was higher on Monday. What does it mean? At $9 or at 9 points, whatever you want to call it, the VIX doesn't mean a lot right here. It's just you get a little bit of a bounce off of a bottom. That's all you really see here. I think you've got some weakness coming in copper. I think you've got some weakness coming pretty much in a lot of places that you were not expecting it. Now, again, I'm not telling you that the markets are going to end today or that we're going to have a problem today. I'm just telling you that these are things that you should be looking out for over time and not to be able to worry and try to time it exactly. Let's see how the market footprints show out, and then we can get a much better view of what the markets are going to look like. But here we have markets that are trading at a dull roar. There is no action. There's nobody really interested. So what does that mean? Does that mean that everybody's already in? We've got no trading range day in intraday. You've got nothing really going on. And of course, you know, the cryptos are the story every day. Everybody wants to convince you that they're a bubble. And I go, okay, maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I say that the cryptocurrency is a financial revolution. And I say that all these countries can try to outlaw them all they want. But if it's truly as private and decentralized, how are they going to outlaw it? I think you're going to see that some of these are going to actually make it as real currencies that are going to continue to grow, because that's more of what people would like to see. Instead of looking at, remember now you look at your dollar bill, it says Federal Reserve note, which means it's just a loan, versus the old pay the bearer the silver certificate. So these are a lot of issues that are floating around here, mostly importantly debt. And I think that if we don't start to solve the problem of debt and we don't address this, I think we're going to have a much bigger problem. And of course, we've got the debt ceiling coming up again in about 10 days. But here we are, markets are higher, or markets are near record highs. So are we going to tell you that they're not going to go higher? There's no way I'm going to tell you that. I'm going to say that ignore all the outside noise. I'm going to tell you to ignore all the people that are telling you that the markets are going to crash tomorrow. And I'm going to tell you just to watch the market footprint. It will give you a much better clue. That's why we have to be more careful and more patient with what we do in markets. All right. We don't have to rush in. There's always time to get in. We can always pay up or we can always sell down. But let's look for a solid footprint before we get too committed. Or maybe I should be committed. In the meantime, we've got not much going on. And we'll be back again tomorrow. But make sure you check out highschoolinvesting.com as we go into our 7th year and want to continue to grow it. But of course, we need some capital now to grow it. And of course, if you go to Patreon, patreon.com/Bubba Trading, you can go ahead and hook yourself in and help me out. And then, of course, you'll get access to the High School Investing website, which you actually will get some free training. Okay? Well, maybe it's not free. You're helping out. You're donating to get some free training. So that would be great if you could do that. And don't forget to get the Bubba Show every single day between 2 and 3 Eastern Time at libertytalk.fm. In the meantime, National Championship football tonight. And what are we going to say? Well, we're going to say roll tide. I think Alabama wins this one in an easy route. I like Georgia, but I think that Alabama's better, and I don't know that Fromm can do his deal. So look for the tide to roll all over, and we'll see you back here tomorrow in Bubba's Daily Update. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you later. Bubba's Daily Update. Have a great day. Bye.